From a highly secure network of top secret locations across South Texas, this is the Spurs Insider post All-Star edition. I am Mike Finger, joined as always by San Antonio Express News Spurs beat writers Tom Orsborn and Jeff McDonald. We have lots to get to at the two-thirds mark of the season, the traditional halfway mark of the season. All-Star weekend is behind us. The rest of the rodeo trip is in front of us. We have Austin games coming. We have a long-anticipated transaction/departure to discuss. But Tom, just going to check in on you first. Have you recovered from the mayhem, the glitz, the glamour, all the goings-on at the Intuit Dome and in lovely Inglewood and Hawthorne, California this weekend?
Yeah, and I've got some hot coffee, which makes everything better. But
Glad that you were able to warm up your coffee before the start of this podcast.
yeah,
We don't need to get into the behind the scenes goings on of the podcast. We want the behind the scenes goings on at All-Star
well,
Weekend.
it was good. I enjoyed it. It's become a much repeated phrase, but yes, Wemby did set the tone, and everything was a little bit different this year. It was a pretty competitive tournament. Enjoyed watching Wemby get upset, chastise his teammates a little bit. Carter Bryant in the dunk contest, it was tough. I don't know if they showed video of it. I think I sent some video into the Express News, but he was pretty shaken afterward. He really took that loss hard.
As
Uh,
were the viewers who watched that,
yeah,
who were
yeah.
forced to watch another really, really pointless slam dunk contest. But go ahead.
Pointless, man, nihilist here. Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Did
no,
you
no,
like it? Did anyone like it? Is there any reason to continue having a slam dunk contest?
well,
I
I
ask
mean,
you, I beseech you, who is this
I'm not.
for?
I'm just talking about Carter Bryant.
I'm
How
asking you a
quality he
question.
is. I'm going to stick with talking about Carter Bryant. This is a
Okay.
Spurs podcast, so
I see.
he was shaken up. I felt for him. But anyway, yeah, Wemby, that was pretty cool. He went hard, and I like the quote from De'Aaron Fox afterwards. He told his teammates, "Hey, this is kind of a toned down version of what we see in practice every day." So yeah, but yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
It's good. Jeff, did you enjoy watching it from home or did you watch it from home?
I watched some of it. Yeah, it was
No,
fine.
no. I'm eager to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I didn't watch a whole lot of it. No, I watched the All-Star tournament Sunday, but no, I didn't watch a lot of the Saturday activities. No.
And therein lies what I'm getting at on the Carter Bryant thing. That, like, he might be down, and Tom did his excellent reporting of how Carter Bryant's down. But the upside is no one cares anymore. So even if that's a low moment for Carter Bryant, like, people are going to forget about it the moment they forgot about the name of the person who won the slam dunk contest, which was immediately after it was over with. So young Carter, Tom feels for you. Uh, I'm sure a lot of Spurs fans feel for you. But if this is the worst thing that happens to you in your NBA career, you probably had a pretty good NBA career. Um, Tom's right. I think it was Anthony Edwards, the MVP of the All-Star tournament, who after the first quarter game, whatever you want to call it, gave credit to Victor Wembanyama for, because he played hard, everybody else played hard. That's what we've been talking about for a couple years in terms of Victor Wembanyama at the All-Star game. If he plays harder, will everybody else play harder? I'm not sure this format is gonna last forever. Again, the NBA kind of makes it up as they go along, but that wasn't terrible. But in the bigger Wemby picture, Tom, this was yet, to me, watching from home, another example of Victor Wembanyama living up to the moment on a big stage. His team didn't win, but in what did he play? Two of those mini games. It seemed like his team was deferring to him. His team was following his lead. his team got a tongue lashing in a way in the post-game press conference where he was upset in a Greg Popovich-esque manner about not closing out on a three-point shooter. But this was his international team, and he again kind of matched the hype. Tom.
Yeah, not closing out on a 3-point shooter, not once but twice. That time. But no, they said, you could tell. De'Aaron said you could tell that look on his face that he gets, and they knew he meant business, and they fed him. That was the whole thing. He was going all out, and they want to get him the ball. But yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, he rises to the occasion. We've seen it time and time again, and he takes this seriously, and he doesn't care what other people think about him. Whether that's not cool or what. He's going to do what he's going to do, and that's admirable.
As the way the games got away reminded me of like the 2024 San Antonio Spurs in a way, where Victor was doing crazy stuff.
Gosh.
And he just couldn't get help. He didn't have enough help.
Right.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Well,
like I'm not sure Karl Anthony Towns is ever going to be a Spur after the way that Victor Wembanyama just dressed him down in the post game news conference, not by name, but in a Greg Popovich-esque way.
I mean, his two best teammates on the world team basically might as well not have played. Like Luka and Jokic played 5 minutes apiece in the first.
That's what I'm saying.
You
didn't have any help.
But another thing that was fun was watching Kawhi. That was something else.
That was an amazing run right there.
Yeah.
Yep. Once again, Kawhi lifting Mitch Johnson to the championship game, but couldn't pull it off. De'Aaron Fox couldn't pull it off in the end. They lost to was it the Stars or the Stripes who won, Tom?
Stars. The Stars.
Stars.
Slightly younger team than the old heads, the Stripes.
Stripes, just snake bitten. The Stripes, one of the more snake bitten franchises in All-Star history. Just have never won the whole thing. Gotten so close.
But De'Aaron had his moment, hitting a game-winning three in the first game.
That was a cool one too. Waiting there in the corner. I think the pass came from Donovan Mitchell, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct.
Jeez, were you taking notes?
LeBron had a hockey assist.
What was interesting about that is that it came down to the last shot, and I think that Durant's on the floor, LeBron's on the floor, Donovan Mitchell's on the floor, and I think Durant really wanted a shot there, and wisely passed out of it when he was double/triple teamed, and some of the best players in the league had no hesitation about swinging it to De'Aaron Fox in the corner, and he made it. So
De'Aaron Fox, who probably would have rather have been on vacation, but came to embrace it.
That's true. That's an excellent segue, Tom. That gets us to the games the San Antonio Spurs games that have occurred since our last podcast, and they were both on the western coast of the continental United States. And the last game in San Francisco against the Golden State Warriors, when the Spurs rallied from a huge deficit that I believe Jeff McDonald referred to as insurmountable about halfway through that game.
I never use that word.
Well, I think I'm using better vocabulary than you generally use.
You're putting words in my mouth, is what you're doing.
Sort of, but I'm summarizing. Have you ever heard of the Reader's Digest? Like I'm making.
I have no idea what that is.
I'm summarizing your message that you gave. That there was just an insurmountable lead that the Spurs.
Oh, so it's sort of like when you Google something and you get an AI summary at the top.
Much better. Turn off the AI. No. This is
it's also inaccurate.
This is genuine intelligence,
real stuff,
as opposed to artificial intelligence.
Well, but yeah. Also,
anyway, the Spurs wiped away that deficit, toot sweet, very quickly against the Golden State Warriors. Came back, and it was a jolly locker room after the game. De'Aaron Fox was looking forward to spending a weekend at home in Houston, or in San Antonio, actually, with Well, Houston, right? Yeah, it was Texas with his wife and children. He was boarding the bus that was bound for the Texas plane. There was a host of Spurs players, personnel, coaches, assistants, trainers heading to the Los Angeles plane. And lo and behold, once De'Aaron Fox gets to Texas, he's close to his house and he finds out he gets the call. He
20
gets the
minutes from
call
home in Houston.
and he's being sent back
Oh,
to Southern California where he takes his kids, who I saw courtside at the Intuit Dome with him. And that was a nice moment for him to be able to get that honor, not just playing in the game, but to get that honor. He was a one-time All-Star. He gives the Spurs a second All-Star after politicking from Stephon Castle and Mitch Johnson, all saying the Spurs deserve more than one, and they got more than one. So that was good.
I got to be honest. If I had flown all the way home from San Francisco and was 20 minutes from my house, when somebody called me and said, "Hey, good news.
Mm-hmm.
You get to cancel your vacation and come back all the way to California. Toot sweet," as you said.
Uh-huh.
I might not be so happy about it. I might try to get out of it.
That's because you're a miserable person.
No, I
De'Aaron
just
Fox
might be.
loves life. He loves being around people. He loves being around his peers. I'm sure he loved it. He was excited.
I would have been so mad at Giannis for being hurt.
That's the difference between De'Aaron Fox and Jeff McDonald.
I think I have the normal reaction, but that's okay. I'm glad De'Aaron apparently had a good time.
You should realize you shouldn't want to be a miser. The game before that was notable. The night before, it was a back-to-back from Los Angeles to Golden State that the San Antonio Express News was barely able to navigate and get to the second half of. And one member of the Spurs did not have to navigate because after weeks, months, maybe basically a year of speculation, Jeremy Sochan was finally granted his release. No longer a Spur. Did not make the trip from Los Angeles to San Francisco, and now is a New York Knick. Tom, a little sad about that. We all enjoyed talking and dealing with Jeremy.
Yeah. I am sad about it. He was, but a tough go for him from the start. You know, the point guard experiment just never could develop that outside shot. But he's gonna find a niche. I think he's the instigator of instigators, and yeah, the Knicks need a little toughness, so maybe it'll work out for him.
Jeff, what'd you think?
I mean, I think if you want to talk about why Jeremy Sohan is no longer a San Antonio Spur, I mean, we've kind of alluded to it and maybe gone in depth on it a little bit over the last few podcasts, but it's just the way the team began to be built passed him by. Like when you trade for, basically they have a lot of guys that are not quite shooters yet. They have a lot of guys you have to play that are not shooters. You trade for De'Aaron Fox, who's not a 40% three-point shooter, does a lot of scoring, but is not a 40% three-point shooter. You already have Steph Castle on the roster, same thing. And then you have the number 2 pick in this draft. You have to take Dylan Harper, I think, and he's also same thing. Great scorer, bright future, but not yet a floor-spreading shooter. And when you have that many guys, those 3 guys that I just mentioned that have to play, that are not floor spreading shooters, it's hard to play a fourth one, man. And that's where we're with Jeremy. Like, if there was a different universe where they trade for, hypothetically, Steph Curry and not De'Aaron Fox, well, maybe Jeremy Sohan works out better. Or they have Reed Shepherd and not Stephon Castle, then maybe Jeremy Sohan works a little better. Or Con Knipple and not Dylan Harper, well, maybe Jeremy Sohan works a little better. But when you have that influx of guys that are your future, that aren't quite the floor spreading shooters yet, there's not really room for a fourth. And so I think that's where Jeremy kind of fell through the cracks. And then we mentioned a lot of times the second pick the Spurs made in last year's draft, Carter Bryant, is also a guy that's going to be a A+ defender, plus give you more offensively, he's going to take Jeremy's spot is basically what is going to happen. So Jeremy becomes expendable. He's not in the rotation. He's in a contract year. He needs to find someone who will possibly give him an opportunity to, earn another contract after the season. So since you couldn't trade him, you end up doing him a solid and letting him go find what hopefully for him are greener pastures in New York. We'll see how that works out.
And that's an excellent Reader's Digest version of the issues. You hit all the main points. I would only add that it's not so reductive. I think that it's point number 1, 2, 3, 4 that he couldn't become a shooter, couldn't become a floor spacing threat, and that was the main reason why he didn't play more. But when they drafted him, we had people with the Spurs point to Draymond Green as an example, as this connective piece who could do all kinds of things and lead to winning. And Draymond isn't such a he's a better shooter than Jeremy is, but he's no Steph Curry either. I think if Jeremy did other things at a higher level, other Draymond Green type things, I think he would have had a better shot. But he just was not. He was a solid defender, sometimes A plus, like Jeff mentioned. But I don't think he had a skill, whether it was passing, rebounding, doing all the other things, finishing, that led you to believe that he could overcome his big weakness. So I think the shooting was a big factor in it, was the main factor in it. But it's just like you look at his game and you just wondered what the strengths were aside from being able to defend. And if you can get defense from a player who does more things like Carter Bryant can, I think the writing was on the wall. And like
I think
go ahead.
Yeah, there are roster configurations where his strengths maybe outweigh his weaknesses, but that's not the way the Spurs roster has been built. It's really been built where his strengths are kind of redundant to other people that they have now,
right,
and his weaknesses are just glaring. So
yep.
It just doesn't fit. The fit wasn't there, and so maybe he fits better with the Knicks. It is crazy that the Spurs now have, in the past few years, have had 2 lottery picks not make it to their second contract with the team. Sohan is one. The other one maybe has a asterisk by it in Josh Primo. I'm not sure that was completely basketball related, that he didn't make it to his second contract. But yeah, that's two whiffs at a time where the Spurs were taking big swings. Pre-Victor, they were taking big swings with those lottery picks. And so sometimes you're going to whiff on them, and those were 2 whiffs.
Primo came out of nowhere. Primo was the one that a lot of people said was a reach on draft night. No one had him pegged there. To just full disclosure here, and owning our mistakes, or owning my mistakes on this podcast, I think a matter of days before the Sohan draft, I think the host of this podcast endorsed Jeremy Sochan with that pick. And so that's what the Spurs get for listening to the host of this podcast. Hey, Jeff, I'm going to set you up for this one. Do you know who ran into Jeremy Sochan at the H-E-B pharmacy this weekend?
I'm not allowed to say.
I'm giving you permission.
Your dear sweet mother?
That is offensive. How dare you? How dare you tarnish the name of my saint of a mother? But yes, it was her. My mom ran into Jeremy Sochan at the pharmacy, H-E-B, days after he was waived. She was picking up some stuff. Apparently,
they were both shopping for hair dye, right?
this tall gentleman with fuchsia colored hair was waiting for something, and my dear sweet mother said that she enjoyed having him in San Antonio. She would miss him. She wished him well. He said he was, my mom said he was a lovely, sweet, polite young man, and couldn't have been more impressed with the way that he handled the attention. I think one of the pharmacists asked for a selfie as he picked up his
with your mom.
Was picking up. Yeah, 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 with Jeremy, and Jeremy graciously agreed. And I thought that was nice. I know that the people in San Antonio who interacted with Jeremy out and about and enjoyed watching him play are gonna miss him. Like the fans loved him, and you can see why. And not all like Victor Wembanyama, for obvious reasons, is not going to HEB hanging out. You know, Tim was seen out and about every now and then, but shied away from stuff like that. I know Jeremy sort of enjoyed it. Jeremy did not mind the attention, and that's a cool personality trait to have, I think, when you're an NBA player, and maybe he'll enjoy being in New York as well.
So I was glad you and I ambled up to him and had a last what turned out to be a last conversation with him there at the crypto.com arena.
Oh, that's a good thing to bring up. Yeah.
We did not we didn't know it was before that Lakers game. We didn't know he was going to be gone the next day.
Mhm.
But it was after the trade deadline. We kind of wanted to check his mood, check his head, where he's at, what he's thinking about not being traded, and it ended
He
up
said
being
that he
kind
was
of a
really
safe farewell.
he said he was really impressed and appreciative of the big ovation, the last ovation he got in San Antonio. I think it was the night of the Dallas game when he was allowed to play the last 4 minutes of a blowout against the Mavericks, and got that warm round of applause from the Frost Bank Center crowd. He said that was all love. That was his family. He really appreciated it. So yeah.
We were talking to him before that Lakers game. I think the way that game played out, where the Spurs were winning at one point by 40, and I think literally everyone in the building got to play except for Jeremy Sochan. I think by the end of that night, I think you and I both realized the writing was on the wall, and he was probably not going to be there very much longer. Yeah,
that was I walked up to him afterwards and sort of asked, what's going on, man? And he said, this is when the alarm bells went off. He said, no comment. And that was after the game. And I think that's clear. That's right as the T's were being crossed and the I's were being dotted on all the transaction.
Right. Like for those listeners and viewers who can't read between the lines, what happened and what ended up happening was clearly the Spurs are working on that buyout.
Yeah. With Jeremy Sohan's people, by the way.
During that game, up to that game, and you can't play him. Like you can't play him in that game, and he gets hurt, and now he can't sign anywhere. So they held him out because they knew he was going to be and by that point he's got something lined up with the Knicks already. That's how those things work. But you can't play him and get him hurt, and then the Knicks don't want him anymore, and now he's homeless basically. So
that's good you brought that up, because Jeff, you are on the social medias and you're reading all the chatter and the mentions and stuff like that. But I think you had mentioned to me that someone had speculated, oh, the reason Jeremy left is because he didn't play against the Lakers. No, the reason he didn't play against the Lakers is because he had something working, or the Spurs had something working. So that's good we clarified there. Big games coming up. The rest of the Rodeo Road Trip, which now on an annual basis includes the 2 Austin games. They can be good vibes Austin games because there's no longer any danger of Spurs fans in San Antonio worried that those greedy yuppies, tech bros up in Austin are going to steal the franchise. Now it's just a 2-game feel good stretch. The Spurs are going to be in San Antonio forever, or for a long time, with the new downtown arena. The Austin can just have them for a couple games. And not exactly glamour opponents this year. Last year was the arrival of Kevin Durant back in his old University of Texas stomping grounds. This year, his old team, the Phoenix Suns, are back without Kevin Durant. A Phoenix Suns team that's done pretty well against the Spurs this year, but not a championship contender. And then the last place Sacramento Kings are in the Moody Center in Austin for the second of 2 games against the Spurs. What do we think about those games and the latter portion of the NBA schedule as a whole, as the Spurs try to the Spurs, who I believe are as close to first place as they are to third now all of a sudden, attempt to venture towards their first playoff run in more than 6 years.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the Phoenix Suns are going to be missing a very important piece of their roster for that game against the Spurs. Because I believe, unless something has been rescinded, Dylan Brooks has got too many technicals and he's suspended for that game.
That's a huge one because Dylan Brooks,
and that's the quote unquote Vic stopper on that team. So
yeah,
that's a big absence that will give the Spurs a boost.
Yep. And I wish we had. I should have done more research before the show. I believe you're correct on that, but I don't know if that's unless it's rescinded.
Yeah, that was the truth going into the All-Star break. I have not circled back on that. I've been kind of not paying attention to the Phoenix Suns for the All-Star break, but I was going to look that up after we get off the air.
Well, that'll be a big one. If he's not there, that's big news for the Spurs. And the Sacramento one, Sacramento's always a mess and continues to be a mess. And then you have the big East Coast swing, Tom Orsborn in Detroit and Toronto, and then a long stretch in New York and Philly for the rest of this road trip. More chances to make hay, perhaps. You got to make hay in Austin while the sun shines. Detroit and Toronto could be an issue. And then I think there's a back-to-back against the Brooklyn Nets. But what's the feeling on the Spurs moving forward, just big picture wise, Tom, in terms of what they can accomplish over the rest of this trip and through the rest of the season?
Well, just for certain, yeah, Brooks is he will serve a suspension.
Good to know. Good update.
Yeah. It's gonna get tougher, I think. Second half. Well, they've got to start solidifying things, and that's going to be the challenge for Mitch and his staff. Is just really zoning in on what they need to do to prepare. Once they do snap the 6-year drought, to prepare for the playoffs and to get this team ready for it. That's the challenge going forward. It's all about the playoffs from here. Just what's it going to look like rotation wise, solidifying just everything, how much Carter Bryant's going to play. So that's
how much do you think Carter Bryant will play in the first playoff game? Let's say game 1.
Yeah, not much.
In the middle of April. Is he a 10-minute guy? Is he a 2-minute guy? That's a legitimate question, I think, for the rest of the season to see how much you can rely on him. Because, Jeff, as you know, I think you covered playoff series way back in the day, Tom, back when there were playoff series in San Antonio.
I don't remember.
Typically the playoff rotations shrink a bit.
Yeah,
you don't play as many guys. But for both of you, how does Carter fit in? Do you think he's going to carve out some legitimate, meaningful playoff minutes?
He's been pretty good of late. There's no question about it. But still, playoffs are playoffs. Different animal. And
here's the other thing: we've never done a playoff with Mitch Johnson.
Yeah.
Like if it was Greg Popovich in 2017 or 18, I could probably predict what's going to happen. And that, of course, the rotation is going to shrink, and of course, you're going to trust your 33-year-old veterans who have been in playoff series before, like Harrison Barnes, over your 20-year-old rookie who's barely played the NCAA tournament. I mean, that would be the Greg Popovich approach, and I know fans over the years sometimes got annoyed by that. You'd have these rookies that
what was the classic George Hill line?
These playoffs are not for George. They did the same thing with DeJuan Blair his rookie year. I mean, that guy was starting most of the year, and then right about this time of the year when it's time to we're going to put together our playoff rotation, DeJuan Blair ain't starting anymore, and he's barely playing, and of course he's not much of a factor in that first playoff series of his career, and that would be the pop approach. For better or worse, and I can understand why you want to trust guys that have been there in a playoff series where every second of every game, every possession of every game is like of the utmost important. You can't. It's hard for a coach to trust someone who might waste them, who might inadvertently waste them. So they always want to go with their vets there. And whether Mitch Johnson will go that way once we get to the playoffs remains to be seen. So I can't answer the question because I don't know how Mitch approaches playoffs.
Here's the other difference there, and it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But the Spurs don't have a lot of guys who've been there before.
Correct.
So even the guys who you're relying on, if you don't go to Carter Bryant, this is nothing against these guys, but Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, old savvy vets who've been around forever. They have not played a playoff minute yet.
Yeah, you're still going to trust those guys, though.
You're still going to trust them. You're still going to trust them.
Bryant.
But it's new to a lot of people. And I guess the way to look at this is Carter Bryant needs to be making the most of what he has an opportunity to prove the rest of the way. Because I think it's fair to say that he's probably going to be judged by Mitch Johnson and the staff on how he handles these minutes moving forward. And if they can trust him a little bit, maybe he will see some playoff time. But I think he's probably number 10 now on the pecking order in the rotation, and it wouldn't be surprised. A lot of teams play 8-9 guys in the playoffs, so we'll see.
He's number 10. He's been pretty good of late, and he's shown, the few minutes that he does get, he can make an impact. So it'll be interesting. And
there are always injuries. I will venture to say that the Spurs will need some Carter Bryant in the playoffs. That's not even an if. I think they'll need some Carter Bryant in the playoffs, and it would be nice for him to build up some confidence. Hopefully that slam dunk thing didn't shake him too much. But I think he can move on from that. No one will remember that in a week. Or do you quibble with that, Tom?
Again, it's a Spurs podcast. I think Spurs fans will remember these things. You're speaking for the broader audience.
It's just Figures like an old man that hates everything.
He is.
We hate the slam dunk contest. We hate awards. What do you like?
His mother was thinking after that encounter with Jeremy is, why can't my son be more like Jeremy? Where did I go wrong?
I don't want to get into this too much. What do you like?
That was my question. What do you like?
As an old man, the slam dunk contest is the new slam dunk contest is ridiculous, but no kids like it. We don't have any young listeners. I know.
Would you like to replace it with the all-star mic and drill? What do you want to do?
I'm saying
3-man weave. Come on.
I'm saying there are no kids who like the slam dunk. There are no Gen X. There are no millennials. There are no Gen Y. Is there a Gen Y? There's no Gen Z. There are no what's Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Echo. There's no generation that enjoys the 2020s version of the slam dunk contest. Not liking the slam dunk contest does not make me an old man. It makes me a freaking human. If there's somebody out there who enjoys the slam dunk contest and is going to be thinking about that in a week when Carter Bryant is taking the floor against the Raptors, I'm including Spurs fans here. Spurs fans are like, he couldn't finish the slam dunk contest. I wonder how he's going to handle Sandro Mamukelashvili. Like, come on, man. No one freaking cares. The dunk contest is ridiculous. No one cares.
This man's all-star Saturday night includes a defensive slide competition.
Also, this all-star Saturday night is
in the afternoon.
Over before the blue plate special.
Was that
the early bird special? It was Saturday afternoon.
Was that because of the Olympics, though? Because NBC had the Olympics? Okay.
Yes.
So it won't always be that way.
Yes.
You can see your defensive slides at night then, in prime time, must-see TV.
And whatever the Harper thing was, that was the Tom didn't even analyze that yet. That was riveting stuff, man. Riveting.
That's part of that again was afterward, the interaction between father and his sons. That was pretty fun to watch. That was entertaining.
I'll tell you my favorite of the little bit I watched of the entire weekend. My favorite part was Dylan making a game winner over his big brother. That was fun.
Yeah.
In the Rising Stars game. That was fun. I did watch that live.
Didn't Ron Sr. Make a LeBron crack, Tom? That video you sent us?
And Dylan's reaction was priceless. That was a great moment.
He said, correct me if I got that wrong, but he said something like, unlike LeBron, I'm not going to tell my kids how to have their career.
Basically not going to manage their careers. And Dylan raised his eyebrows, then put his hands over his face, lowered his head. It was
poor Bronny. That kid had a heart attack and made the NBA. Let's leave him alone.
What was he's not making fun of Bronny. He's making fun of LeBron.
Yeah, I know, but yeah.
I just have to spell this out for you. How many empty seats were there, Tom? It's hard to tell from the TV, especially Saturday. Was anybody there?
It wasn't well attended. Yeah.
It
was not well attended.
So
because all those tickets are given away to corporate muckety mucks.
Like mucks, a lot of muckety mucks there.
But I think on Saturday night, on Saturday afternoon, there's more available, and people just did not show up.
It's the market too. A lot going on out there in LA.
Yeah. Well, there'll be a lot going on in Austin this week, on the East Coast next week. Looking forward to going over it all with you guys next week on the podcast. We hope to see you again. Until then, take care of each other and keep it real.